Have you ever wondered why some kids are wise? Some kids bring shame to their parents, while others will give you peace of mind and will make your heart glad. Have you seen people living confused lives, lack of restraints, living loose lives that cause them to wander and perish? Well, the answer is in the passage we are going to read. Proverbs 29, verses 15 to 18 NLT. To discipline a child produces wisdom, but the mother is disgraced by an undisciplined child. When the wicked are in authority, sin flourishes, but the godly will live to see their downfall. Discipline your children, and they will give you peace of mind and will make your heart glad. When people do not accept divine guidance, they run wild, but whoever obeys the law is joyful. So from these verses, the key word that causes some kids to be wise, some kids bringing shame to their parents, while others bring peace of mind and gladness of heart, is the word discipline. We see here that discipline starts in a family and eventually affects the whole nation. Discipline is also affected at different levels in the human psyche, and when it is full grown, it affects the whole nation. In verse 15, the word discipline in Hebrew is composed of two words, the rod and reproof. This talks about the methodology of discipline that we need to apply upon a child. We can read this as, the rod of correction on the child produces wisdom. This is a physical aspect of discipline, or what I call the first level of discipline we need to administer. You want your child to be wise, then use the rod of correction. Parents, it is biblical to use the rod of correction to administer discipline to our kids. I'm not talking about beating our kids black and blue. Sometimes our kids need to feel the pain of discipline to get their attention, especially applied on their butt. In another passage, Proverbs speaks of he who spares a rod hates his son. Others call it as the board of education. Look at the result in verse 15. It produces wisdom. You want your kids to be wise when they grow old? Don't forget the rod or board of correction. Now, the next level of discipline is also found in verse 15, but emphasized more in verse 17. Remember, in verse 15, the word discipline is translated rod and reproof. Now, reproof is a verbal method of administering discipline. Words of correction also inflict pain, this time on our human soul, our thinking, our decisions, and feelings. In verse 17, discipline in Hebrew is translated as instruction, correct, or teach. This means the rod of correction affects the physical, but reproof and instruction affect the soul, our mind, thinking, our will, decision making, our emotions, feelings, especially for our kids. You see, by nature, we don't feel good when we are being disciplined, right? But look at the results. They will give you peace of mind and will make your heart glad. So, we have the physical method of discipline that affects the body. We have the verbal method of discipline that affects the soul. Now let's talk about the inspirational method of discipline that affects our spirit. In verse 18, the Bible said, when people do not accept divine guidance, they run wild. In Hebrew, this is rendered as when there is no vision, when there is no dream, when there is no revelation, people run wild. People are unrestrained. They are confused. You know why? Because a vision provides inspiration of what the future can be and provides direction of guidance. Without vision or revelation, people are confused and just move in circles without purpose. Now, the key to turn things around is on the second half of verse 18. But whoever obeys the law is joyful. Wow. Again, in Hebrew, obey means to keep or guard, and the word law is the word Torah, which means direction, instructions, human or divine. Now, this is the highest discipline one can experience. We receive a revelation, and this is not referring to rules and regulations, but to the body of prophetic teaching that one must be disciplined to keep or obey in order to live a happy life. So when you and I receive a revelation, a divine inspiration, or guidance from the Word of God and obey them, then we are blessed and will live happy as a family, as a people, and eventually as a nation.